Hey, what is up, everybody? Happy June. So here we are, third month in a row, coming to you from my house. So actually, that reminds me of something. I gotta clear something up. So hey, Christian in Maryland, where is it? Right up here, the crown molding. That's how the builder did it. He ended it there because that's the dining room over there. So stop texting me telling me to finish the crown molding for Ken. Okay, that's just how the builder did it. I can't help it. It's tough filming from home. But anyway, happy June. We got some great things going on. We got a really cool broadcast. So really what I kind of want to do is first do a little recap of our broadcast that we had in May. And so if you remember, in May we had for the first time ever, to crack our top 10, you had to have a perfect mile. You had to sell over $100,000 just to be in the top 10 in Northeast Division. So for me, that was super cool. So we had some folks on here like from upstate, Nick Vilovic. That's why I always say first names. Nick, and how his key to success was the extra time that he has with things being closed and his kids' soccer and stuff like that, where he was just able to work and follow up to take advantage of that extra time. If you remember, we had Ed Masheri and his bird Rocco, and how he was talking about hey, everybody's home. We always talk about the no one-leggers. And there's a lot of people that are home, so you have both decision powers there. We had Joey down in Virginia. He was talking about the route manager leads with the 80-20 split that he does. He gets a lot of sales and a lot of leads from working with his route managers. And I remember, if you remember, Gary even asked him, how does that affect you giving up the commission? And he says it doesn't affect me because if I didn't do that split, I probably wouldn't have got those leads anyway. So as we always say, 80% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Then we had Andrew from South Pittsburgh that came on. And Andrew spoke about taking advantage of the fact that we don't have to go to the branches every morning. And instead of being at the branch for a branch meeting at 8 o'clock, he's setting his schedule where his first appointment is at 8 o'clock. So he's taking advantage of that. That gives him a couple extra appointments a day. You might hear a little bit about that more later. And then we had Brad Conrad, that guy who just sells a lot of business. But he talked about this new avenue that he had for filling up his day, and that was with lost leads. How many of you have taken advantage of the lost leads that are coming in? How many of you are truly taking advantage of not having to go to the branch and filling up your day in the morning? The reason we do these broadcasts is to kind of share ideas, from people that are doing, something that they're doing that may be unique or just something that's working or what the successful folks are really doing out there. They kind of spread the wealth out there, spread the knowledge. That's why we do these broadcasts. That's why I always ask you at the end, post something on GroupMe, that your takeaway that you're going to use. And I'm just really hoping that there's going to be a time where everybody starts doing, everything that we talk about with this process, from really filling up your day and, not leaving your house and your first appointment at 11 o'clock and making sure that you're running, 6, 7, 8 appointments a day, because it's out there for the taking and anybody can do it. With that being said, let's check out the top 10 for May. Roll it.
Y'all ready for this?
about that top 10 list? Second month in a row, you had to hit a perfect mile just to crack the top 10. Congratulations to those folks. And what's pretty cool is you see a lot of folks up there with the repeats. Like Brad, I think, that's like his 42nd month in a row doing it. Ricky Schmidt, he's 5 for 5 this month or this year. 5 months this year, he's hit the perfect mile all 5 of those months. Christian Brindel, DJ, that was his third perfect mile. And Andrew Kuzma, second in a row. And Nick Velichek, second month in a row. It's pretty neat. And then we had some first timers that we're going to hear from. So I want to throw a few things out there for you. When I was looking at the top 10, and I was pulling some reports out of Boss, there's something that they have in common. And one of the things that they have in common is bundling. They're not just going out there and offering single service offerings or 2 things. But what they have in common is they actually average, when I looked at all their sales, 7 different product service or offerings. So you look at like your pest control, you look at your mosquito and tick, you look at the insulation, you look at any kind of moisture, you look at the gutter guards. You guys know what I'm talking about. When that exercise with the house where you draw all the different products and servicing, what gets these folks doing these perfect miles is they are truly filling up their day. And they are offering all the services that a customer needs to benefit from and lets them decide. Kind of sounds like that process thing, that process that we always talk about. But seriously, that's just what they're doing. They're offering all this kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. One other story I got to share from you from last month is, and I saw this on a group me, and Christian Brindle down in Maryland, he had a $30,000 sale. Just a top to bottom bundle that he had, from a dry zone to attic, all that kind of stuff, $30,000. And he posted a picture on the group me of him and his the 2 customers sitting in the living room. They were social distancing to where, it's him and then the husband and then the wife, and then a picture of the big screen TV in the living room. And what he did is, all these TVs have like these smart TVs that have Apple TVs built into it. He put his iPad, mirrored it right onto the TV in the living room, and that's how he did his proposal, going through the pictures. So I'll show it to you. Actually, what I'll do is I took a screenshot of it. I'll put it on all the group me's right after this broadcast, so you can see what I'm talking about. But how cool is that? Using Apple TV in a customer's home. I mean, like we always talk about, how many pictures does it need? $30,000 proposal, you better have $30,000 worth of picture. So DJ Grant, great job. I thought that was super cool. So let's hear from a few of these folks that this is their first time hitting a perfect mile, and let's see what their secrets were, or are they really secrets? Anyway, let's go up to New England, where Jesse Parker, he's been around for I think 4 or 5 years, and this is his first time hitting a perfect mile. So Jesse, talk to us, brother. What happened?
Hey Tim, good morning. Jesse Parker here, branch 984 in Monroe, Connecticut. Just wanted to let you know I finally hit that perfect mile. Actually, that. You called me last night. I want to thank you for the call. And, you asked me a question. You asked me how I did it. Well, you actually asked me how I finally did it. But how I did it was pretty simple. I committed to really making the appointments every day. Not having to be in the office with all this COVID-19 stuff going on has really freed up the morning to make sure I leave the house at 7:30. I'm at my first appointment by 7:30, 7:45, and just rocking and rolling and hitting appointments all day. And throughout the month of May, I averaged, I think, 8.5 appointments per day. So it was rocking and rolling all day and just staying focused and coming home and doing the follow-up and making sure I dot my I's and cross my T's. And, the other thing that did it, and I hate to admit this, is RAC. I've been listening to the guys for a long time saying how RAC, it's just how we do business. And I've been so caught up in how do I get people to be approved or, deal with denials or this and that. And I just got, I overthought it all the time. And so I listened to people like Justin and you and our old region sales manager, and I never bought into it. And then about 6-8 weeks ago, I listened to Brad Connor. He joined our call one morning and just talked about how this is just how we do it. And so I committed to just doing it. And I went out that day. I had 8 appointments. I sold 7 deals, and 6 of them went RAC. So I'm a believer, man. I'm hooked, and I got my perfect mile, and I got to run because I'm going to do it again this month. So thanks for everything. Talk to you later.
Jesse, you gave me goosebumps, brother. You gave me goosebumps. I mean, in addition to the obvious, because you've heard people last month talking about it, without not having to go to the branch, you're running more appointments. But making that commitment to run 8 appointments a day, 9 appointments. But the RAC thing, I mean, it's pretty interesting what happens. That he had to convince himself to just do it, to just go out there and do it. He was talking about, I mean, this is the most honest interview I think that I've ever had on this broadcast. Just saying that he kind of sold himself on it. That he convinced himself, I think was the phrase that he said about what happens if they get turned down. With the credit pull and all that kind of stuff. And then finally 6 weeks ago they had their region teams meeting, and they invited Brad on, and Brad just talked about it's just the way we do business. So he just said, you know what, screw it, I'm going to go out there and that's what I'm going to do. I am going to just go out there and do it this way. And look what happened. I mean, his first perfect mile. And what's even better than that is, here we are on Tuesday, like 9 days into the month, and he's already at like $26,000 for this month. So he's gonna do a repeat, because here's what happens when you're running these many appointments. When you're running 8, 9 appointments, you don't sell every appointment, just the way it is. Sometimes there's nothing there. Sometimes people need to think about it. But you're just moving, and you're moving, and you're moving to all these different appointments. And then at night, when you do some follow-ups, your day consists of doing the inspections. You might get some sales right there, but with the follow-ups, then follow-up appointments, and your funnel gets full. Like you always hear that, you got to fill the funnel. But if truly, when you're running, have that kind of activity, you start getting people calling you out of the blue. When you're following people up, they're ready to do it, because there's just some people that, if remember their personality traits, they just need to think about it. And you just got to go out there and you got to do it, and it's just a snowball effect. So, Jesse, congratulations. Welcome to the Perfect Mile Club. I know you're going to do it again this month, which is super cool. So let's shift over to Pittsburgh, where there's another first-time Perfect Miler, and that's Scott Bechtel out of the South Pittsburgh branch. Scott, what happened, brother? What happened?
Hey, Tim, Scott Bechtel here in South Pittsburgh. Just letting you know that I'm newest member of the Perfect Mile, probably the oldest one at 63 at that too. But the biggest difference for me, I would think, in achieving it last month was the fact that, like we haven't been doing for the past couple months, is having to go to the office every morning. So instead of getting there at 7:30, 8 o'clock, I was out at my first appointment 7:30, 8 o'clock, which means I was able to do a couple more appointments each day. So just in sheer volume, and do all the other things that we do to attain business, was a big influence on getting the extra revenue. So if nothing else, the takeaway for me was just being out there, being in front of more people during the course of the day, the month, and it got me over the top. So if an old silver fox like me can do it, I don't see any reason why a lot of other people can't do it as well. All right, take care. Thanks.
The old silver fox. Thanks, Scott. No, but what's interesting, what Scott was talking about, and I think you're going to see a theme throughout this, is that he talked about taking advantage of not having to go to the branch every day. He's out there at his first appointment at 7:30, 8 o'clock. I still think that we have some folks out there who are still waiting for their first appointment to be at 10 or 11 o'clock. And I mean, shame on you for doing that, to be honest with you. But the folks that are taking advantage of it, being at their first appointment at 8 o'clock because you don't have to go to the branch, I mean, it's just smart, because you're able to see 1 to 2 or 3, possibly even 3 more people, because depending on when you get out of your branch, by the time you talk to the route managers and the front office folks, and shuffle around the papers in your work area before you get out of there. Some of you you're used to not being in your first appointment until 11, but if you started at 8, that's a couple more appointments that you have, and you take 2 more appointments in a day, and you put that out through a month. I mean, you're talking like 40, 42 more appointments. I mean, it's crazy to think about that. But anyway, thanks, Scott. I really appreciate that, man. So next, moving on, we're going to go to Philadelphia. And here's another guy who's been around for a little while, and he finally hit his first perfect mile. Brian Hunt. Brian, talk to me. How'd you do it?
Good morning, Tim. Last month I watched a video you captured with Brad Connor speaking on the call center lost leads. I did a little research on my own in SurfSuite and found an ocean of prospects to call. What stood out to me most was how many on the list would actually let you out to their house for the free home inspection. Think about it, they called us for help. They're on the edge of purchasing from somebody. They just needed a little more information to make the right decision to join the Orkin family. Worked out pretty good for me last month, hitting the perfect mile. Have a great day.
Brian, you're bringing a tear to my eye. Thank you for watching the broadcast and actually doing something with it. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, well, I'm kind of not. You know, we do these broadcasts to kind of share ideas that what goes on throughout the division of people that are having success with different things. And last month's broadcast, you know, like I said earlier, you know, Brad Connor jumped on and I kind of had that little interview with him, and he spoke about he finally started calling lost leads. There are so many lost leads out there for you to call on. I mean, it's just incredible, and I'll get to that in a second. But Brian, you know, he saw it, he figured, what the heck? And I think the phrase he used was, he went and looked in his iPad, and there was an ocean of lost leads. So let me throw some numbers out there to you. Last month, the call center had a little over 21,000 people. 21,000 people call the call center. They had some kind of problem. They don't just call to say hi. They don't just call for preventative. In residential, they call because they have some kind of problem. So 21,000 people called. The call center sold 53.9% of those. So that leaves 47% that didn't buy. So if you take 47% of 21,000, you're talking almost 10,000 people that called us with a problem that the call center didn't sell. So where do those leads go? Where those leads go is they come to the branch, and in the lead management system under lost leads. Every one of you has access to that. You can go in there and look at lost leads and call these people. Brad talked about it last month, how he called, emailed, and sent a text right away as soon as they came in. Hey, I'm going to come out to your house and I'm going to do an inspection. You just heard Brian say it. He's proof of it, that these people wanted me to come to their house. They're calling us with a problem for whatever reason they didn't buy, but you can still get an inspection and go out there and know that they have a problem to go out there and get that opportunity. Lost leads are a tremendous opportunity. And in addition to the lost leads are web leads. Web leads are people that go on Orkin's website, put in information, and you know that comes to the call center. Normally the call center would try to call those folks, but the call center has been so busy the last 2 weeks that starting yesterday, Monday, they actually are just, the web leads are just coming right to the branches now. So this is another avenue for you to call. And if you remember last month when I had Brad on and I talked to him about web leads, I said, you know, hey Brad, some of the folks say that, you know, because they don't have an address, you know, you just got a name and an email or a phone number or something like that, it's not that great because you don't have their address. And his reaction was, that's all I need is a name and a number. And that's exactly right. You could ask people their address, but these are folks that are inquiring that you could take advantage of. So, you know, with that being said, just kind of want to wrap this up. But, you know, so we had Jesse talking about finally after I think like 5 years of being here, he finally decided to start doing RAC. His numbers shot up. You had Scott talking about taking advantage of not having to go to the branch, running the extra appointments. And then you had Brian Hunt talking about, from last month's broadcast, taking what Brad said and actually doing, you know, looking up the lost leads. And oh my gosh, $136,000 in a month. He's been here for a while, and that's been his biggest month by I think like $48,000 they had because of those lost leads. There are so many avenues for you to fill up your day, from the lost leads to the route manager leads to the PCNOTC to the REIs, that there is absolutely no way, especially without going in the branch now, that you should be running less than 6 appointments a day. There's just no way. And what happens when you start running 6 appointments a day, your funnel gets full. You start doing all the follow-ups, and you know, you just have a lot of people that start calling you, and it just snowballs for you. So take advantage of all the different ways to fill up your day. No less than 6 appointments a day. Trust the process, top to bottom, inside out, killer inspection. Take lots of picture. Propose everything that a customer needs or can benefit from. And for the love of all things good, make sure they're happy and give them 90 days to pay us anything. It just works. So with that being said, thank you for all you do. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and have a great June.